In this lesson I'm going to go over how you can use triads to play jazz chords. I'm also going to show you how you can easily alter these 3-note voicings to add even more alterations and extensions. This lesson is of course a remake of one of the first lessons that I made and published 2 years ago, but I thought it could deserve some better audio and video quality and also maybe some new examples, so I decided to redo it. The first thing we should look at is just how this all works. So if I play a C major 7 like this, or one of these, then what you'll notice is that this is in fact an E minor triad, or this one is also an E minor triad with a C in the bass, and of course this one is as well, E minor with C in the bass. So that means that when we're playing this chord we can play basically just the triad from the third of the chord and then over the bass note. We can leave the bass note out, so we can just play this E minor triad. And the advantage to using a triad is of course then that now we're only playing 3 notes, so we can sort of shape a little bit more what's going on. We can start messing around with that voicing. We can even add notes on top of it. And that means that we can do stuff like, and that's just by using this E minor triad as a starting point and then using the scale notes around it. So it's a very flexible way to play chords. So what chords do we need? So we have, if we have a C major scale in diatonic 7th chords, we get this C, D minor, E minor, F, G7, A minor, E half diminished, and C major 7. So we're just using the triad from the 30 every time. So right now we have E minor here, then of course F major, G major over the E minor, A minor, B diminished over the G, C major over A minor, and D minor over the B half diminished, and then we're back on the C major. So we need 3 types of triads to play all these chords. We need a major triad, a minor triad, and a diminished triad. And I'm going to go over all 3 of those triads, and I'm going to cover them quite thoroughly, so I'm going to go over all string sets. So that means that we have this set, this set, this, and then this. I'm going to cover all of them, but in the rest of the examples, when you use it for jazz chords, most of the time you're probably going to find yourself on the 2 top string sets. I think it's still a good idea to check out all of them, because triads are really basic and it's really sort of a very fundamental part of all harmony and about playing jazz. You need it for so many things. So I would say check out all of them, but when you're using them you'll probably only be using sort of the middle set for now. So let's just get to that. So C major triads will be this. The D minor triads. And the B diminished triads. So in this way you can check out each of the triads, but now we should start looking at how we can combine them into actually playing the chords. And a good place to start, since we're in the key of C right now, is to just play the main cadence in the key of C. So that would be a 2-5-1 in the key of C. So that means that we need a D minor 7, a G7 and a C major 7. And the triads that we then need is for the D minor 7, we need an F major triad. For the G7, we need a B diminished triad. And for C major, we need an E minor triad. So if I play cadences like this, up the neck, then you get this. So one of the first things we're going to need if we start playing progressions with these triad is that we probably need a dominant with a flat 9. And one way to work with this is if we take our G7 here, and then we look at the tritone substitution of G7, so that's a D flat 7. And if I put a G in the base of this chord, I have this G7, and that's a G7 flat 9. So that means that one triad that we can use to get like a flat 9 dominant sound is to use, so since this is a D flat, the triad we have here is in fact an F diminished triad. So we can use the triad, the diminished triad from the 7th of the chord to get a flat 9 out of a dominant. And that gives us these inversions for a flat 9. So another thing we can do to add extensions is to take the G7 and then substitute the 5th, so the D, with a 13, which is an E. You might know this voicing already. And if I do that through the inversions on this middle string set, then you get this. And you can already hear, like now we're getting some minor second intervals in there. So from these triads we're already making some really strong sounding voicings. And in a similar way we can of course substitute the 5 with the flat 5. So and another way we can change the chord is of course to change it from a dominant to a sus chord. And we do that by finding the 3rd of the chord, so that's the B, and then substituting that with, or suspending that with the 4th, so the C, and then we get a G7 sus 4. So that'll be this. For the D minor chord we can substitute the 5th, the A, with a G, so we get a minor 11 chord, and that will be this. So. For the C we're using E minor, of course, but we can substitute the 5th, so the C, with a sharp 11. So instead of a G we play a G, F sharp, and that will be this. Another option for the C major is to, instead of playing a C major 7, to play a C major 6, and you do that by substituting the 7th, so the B, with an A, and that would be this. So starting with the triad from the 3rd of each chord, we can actually create a huge amount of voicings, and we can give them all sorts of colors by just changing 1 or 2 notes. And that way we can already build a huge set of voicings, and we have a lot of options available. To show you how you can use this, I've written out a small example on a turnaround in the key of C with some alto dominants, and I'm going to show you how I use this for different melodies, but also how you can use it to create some inner voice movement, so voices that are moving within the chords, like, which is sort of nice subtle things to add to your comping and to your chord melodies. That was some examples and some exercises to help you get started with using triads for your jazz voicings. This is an approach that I use really a lot myself. I think it's nice that it's so compact and flexible that you can easily add inner voice movement, and you can also quite easily react to whatever's going on with the soloist or whoever's playing the melody that you're playing behind when you're comping. If you want to check out the examples that I went over here, you can go to the article on my website. In there, there's a PDF download of the examples. And if you're on my website, you can also subscribe to my newsletter. That's one way to stay up to date with what is going on with my web store lessons and if I'm playing somewhere or recording something. If you want to dig a bit deeper into this approach, you can also check out my web store lesson on comping How High the Moon, because that's mostly about using these triads and 3-note voicings on the song How High the Moon, or at least the chords of the song. So that's a well worth study to check out how I use it. If this is the first time you see one of my lessons, then you can of course subscribe to my channel. I publish a new lesson every Thursday, and I've been doing this for a little over 2 years. So there's already really a lot of lessons on my channel to check out, and you can maybe have a look at if I can find whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for stuff on jazz guitar or improvising or chords or voicings and stuff like that. If you have any comments or suggestions for topics that I should do videos on, then please leave a comment on this video. And you can of course also get in touch with me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So if you have any suggestions or questions, then I would be happy to hear them. It's nice to hear what you guys think. And if you have questions that are not about this video, but you want to just ask me about how I approach something, what kind of picks I use, or strings or gear, or how I play over a certain progression, then I'm also often publishing these Q&A videos. So you can also just leave a question for that if you want to. That's about it for this week. Thank you for watching, and until next week.